Last week on Workshop Wednesday, Steve and Beau dismantled the transmission and stripped down the gears, bearings and clutch packs off the main and counter shafts. They've begun the process of cleaning, but before we put it all back together, we have to give the same treatment to the differential. Luckily, Beau has a bit of experience with this unit, as he's already disassembled one previously. Is everything in as good a condition as it was in the gearbox? Stay tuned to find out.
Hi, I'm Kurt from Armour and welcome to Workshop Wednesday.
Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Before we get started, the boys drop the aluminium housing into Beau's special case cleaning kerosene concoction, which is conducive to cleaning hydrocarbons.
There we go.
This is the differential that came attached to the transmission that we're using for this restoration. Even though we already have one in stock that you might have seen Beau work on in a previous episode, we've found the tolerances are so fine that the chances of misalignment are just too great. We know this transmission and differential were in a working vehicle together at some point in their history, so how the various shafts and gears are shimmed and spaced shouldn't, in theory, change.
This is another Beau special, this tool, if you recall, and he certainly remembers very well the difficulty of getting this part out. And because it goes right through the side of the case, it absolutely has to come out. And if we don't have to whack on it with hammers, we can reuse it and we don't run the risk of distorting the case. So in his spare time, he just knocked up this tool here, which will allow us to use the mechanical action of the threaded rod to extract this pin out of the casing with the minimum fuss.
These pins are what actually mounts the differential to the vehicle. They have a rubber sleeve which helps to allow for some slight movement when the drivetrain is under load. If we can get these off intact, it will mean a lot less work later on, as parts like this are very hard to replicate.
That side of it's going to do something awesome. That's it. I hope you got that, Curtis. I can feel it building.
Yeah.
Is it moving or not?
No, it's not moving, but it's gonna let go again.
I think it must be moving. If you can hold that.
Oh!
Seems to be coming a bit easier. It's got a nice creak to it.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's a bit of heat in the nut.
Was it?
Yeah. The thread's still okay though.
It looks good. Yep, okay, that actually works out pretty good.
Does it?
Yeah, we've got a high tensile nut on there, that'll be fine.
I think it's moving.
Yeah. That definitely works. But hang on a sec. Good luck to you, Steve.
I'll end up spinning around on my axis.
Machine's bottoming out there.
Look at that.
Perfect.
Fully intact, preserved.
Yeah, didn't even have to cut it apart. Now I can get this on here some more.
Yeah.
Well done, Steve. Load bearing pin.
It's got some gravity in it. You can still smell the solvent in the sealant, which is pretty incredible after 80 odd years.
Done its job well, eh? Definitely sealed. And this is just a spacer. Can't forget this. That just sticks on there like that. Perfect. And then this one. press it back on.
A really interesting detail we found was this rather severe casting defect on the inside of the pinhole. This differential housing actually has welded patches all over it, repairs for what we're pretty sure are other blowholes or sand inclusions.
Universal goes on here and goes out to the final drive. That's got a bit of slip in it. So the idea of this is so that it can move. So this is supposed to be removable. Obviously you don't want too much slip so that it comes away from the seal, but it's got to be just enough for any movement in the tank or movement of the differential and gearbox.
Next, the boys take off these two small brake drum units that are on the sides of the differential. These are a rather unusual feature, and it took us a little while to figure out what their function is. The steering brakes are much larger and are already attached to the hull. Can you guess what they are? To give you a clue, both brakes are operated by the driver with a single lever. We'll give you the answer in tomorrow's Q&A short.
Oh, look, it's only a little bit mangled. Yeah.
That's coming off nicely.
No.
Perfect.
For that? More stuff.
Actually, this one's pretty immaculate, where this one here's got quite a bit of pitting, so there's water has been sitting in this part of the transmission. I mean, the wear is determined by the depth of material to the rivets, so there's still loads of material between the rivet and the shoe.
Bugger. Can't win them all. They gotta be replaced anyway, hey?
What they do now, take this spring clip off, remove the washer, and with these gone, the brake shoe can fall.
Right.
But with this in place, it keeps everything aligned and the brake shoe true. There we go. The clip on this retains the brake shoe. Just keeps it in the right spot.
We couldn't get a C-spanner that would fit in this nut straight away, so we had to start it with the punch.
We can just get it now. So that's that.
It's not pulling off how we think it should, so we look back through the old parts for some answers.
What we're trying to do is pull this off, but we're having trouble because there's a circlip holding bearing on inside and it can't come past this cover plate which holds the seal in. So we've got to remove this cover plate and then we can pull this off.
It gets like that. It's got a fair bit of torque in it actually. Oh, look how easy it comes apart. We're good. The adhesive's still got stretch in it.
Yeah, you can smell it, you're right, you can actually smell the glue.
solvent. Another beautifully crafted piece, isn't it? because we've gone ahead and worked out how to successfully get all of this stuff off, we're going to do exactly the same thing on the opposite side. Zip out all the bolts so that then we can take one side cover off immediately, followed by the second side cover, so that we're not forgetting what we've just learned.
That's enough. Yep.
I'll loosen some of them up.
Good job. Thanks, Steve. Fresh as the day it was put in. Yep, nice. Looking good. Turn it. Look at that. It's all in the legs, eh?
So what's this, Steve?
It's a drain plug for this side of the differential housing, because it's a natural low point of the housing. So just be interesting to see what comes out of it, you know, in the name of archaeology.
Huh. Nothing.
It's building up
Stick
a
your
bit
finger in there, it might let go.
I'll stick a screwdriver in there. How about
Yeah,
that?
that's a good idea. Ugh.
Chunky.
Now we can split the case.
That's lifting away
It's
on
cracked.
the edge.
Cracked all the way around. This side's come away about 2 to 3 mil.
It's moving, isn't it?
Yep.
Just
Look at that.
oh,
Still live.
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
right.
I am.
That's what you say.
The gear up top doesn't look real flash.
It's a bit rusty, but
Nice.
that's crazy, isn't it?
Yep. Like the pipe comes in and
Yeah.
feeds the planetaries with oil.
Yeah.
The gear on top isn't in the best condition. It's clear that it hasn't had any oil on it for a very long time, but everything else is looking promising.
Will we be taking offers on the museum website to buy some of this stuff? But is this really StuG jerky, or is it StuG, what would it be?
Poo. StuG poo.
Let's get on with the other side.
All good. Little notches around the place. There we go. Got it. Right, got that. Okay.
Basically the same story.
Yep.
The top gear could be better, but the rest of it looking not too bad. It was here we noticed something rather peculiar, and maybe an indication as to why this transmission assembly appears not to have been used very much.
This is the outer race of the bearing, and we've pulled it out and it's fractured because it's been hit or hammered home. We've also got a retaining snap ring here that's starting to pop out.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's another bit.
It sure is. A bit of bearing. So could you imagine if we didn't pull this apart, Steve?
Yeah.
There's a lot of holes in it.
Careful. I should have an extra donut at Smoko.
Steve is taking some measurements for when the time comes to reassemble.
I'm just measuring the end float, so this is the amount of clearance that the installed assembly and the differential housing has, so that we can put it back together again. If this pinion's not located properly, as soon as you put any torque on it, it's just going to smash itself to pieces. I've got my dial indicator gauge set up, and you always zero it by pushing it back to maximum in one direction, so it's, you can see the needles on 0. So then if I push on the gear in the other direction, I got 0.03 of a millimeter of end float, which is just incredible precision.
The whole thing's dirty.
Is it?
The next day, the boys started with the ring gears. This was the trickiest part of the whole process. Nothing is rusted on, but where the oil has been has dried and left a kind of varnish glue that is making everything really hard to get off.
Yep.
Success. Straight out.
We probably didn't even need it for that one. I'm going to call this Darryl because it's missing a tooth.
The Darryl tool.
Darryl socket.
Alas, the bearings were unable to survive. Beau has placed rags here in case the bearing puller slips off and hits the ring gear. Once again, Beau turned to old parts for answers.
So this is the old ring gear from in our original differential, and there's a locking nut that goes on the back, and we've got to take that off first before we can pull all of this out. The other side hasn't got a nut on it, it's just held in with the nut that's on the outside, whereas this one's got an internal one. So take this off first and then we could hopefully extract the ring gear out.
But before we do that, to give ourselves a win, we'll take the other side off first.
Oh! How do you be full
There we go. All right, so we were right. The other side is the one with the thread, not this one.
Try again.
You good?
Yep. Yeah, that was moving.
Are you able to do the whole lot by yourself there?
I think so.
Yep.
Alright, so that's coming off. That seems to be coming off fairly well.
some reason. I've built in torque wrench.
Hydraulic.
There it goes.
Yeah, nice work. Very good.
What?
Can you film from that way?
The other way?
Through this hole?
I reckon I could.
I reckon it's all the way off, Steve. It's just sit in the center. Yeah, you're good. All the way. Keep going. Alright.
That's satisfying.
Oh my god.
Good job.
Did it.
That's the
That's
bearing.
the little bearing. Yeah.
Bearing collar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which our late model one never had.
Yeah.
There we go. Look at that. This is just a washer. Should just pop off there. But of course, it's not going to.
Yeah, it's actually part of it.
There it is.
Yeah.
This troublemaker.
Yeah, so it's probably also a calibrated spacer as well too,
Yeah.
to get the right clearance.
Finally, after all that effort, we can get the last few bearings and the shaft out.
Straight out.
This was
That's amazing now. That's really a nice job,
just good.
Yep.
Oh, easy.
yeah, that's
Good. About 800 mil.
Yes.
Steve. Ready?
Yep.
That's it. Oh. Yep.
Wow, another beautiful piece of engineering.
I'm knocking the entire bearing through.
It's been a pretty big job, but definitely worth it. With everything pulled apart, we can leave the boys for a week or two as they get on with cleaning it and duck into the shed next door to see what Daryl and Jesse have been working on. But that's all we have time for today. Join us next Wednesday for your weekly tank restoration fix. So until then, I'm Kurt from Armour, and I'll see you on the next one.